While Tesla continues promising a $25,000 electric car that still hasn't launched, India just started delivering something for $3,000. It's solar-powered, and it's already on Indian roads right now, while Tesla's affordable model remains a concept. The company isn't Tata or Mahindra or any manufacturer you've heard of. It's a startup most people outside India have never seen. Pre-bookings closed months ago because demand exceeded what they could produce. Tesla doesn't have a solar car. The cheapest Tesla costs 15 times more than this vehicle, and the Indian car is actually available to buy today. What does this $3,000 car do that Tesla can't? The company is called Vayve Mobility, and they approached the electric vehicle problem from a completely different angle than established manufacturers. While the industry focused on extending range to 400 kilometers and reducing charging time to under 20 minutes, Vayve studied actual driving patterns in Indian cities and discovered something useful. Most urban trips cover less than 30 kilometers per day. Morning commute to work, afternoon errands, evening drive home. The car sits parked for 22 hours out of every 24. Those numbers suggested that chasing maximum range was solving the wrong problem for city drivers. Their vehicle is called the Eva. It's a three-seater designed specifically for short-distance urban use, which is what most people actually do with their cars, rather than what they imagine they might do. The exterior is compact and functional rather than stylish, because aerodynamic curves add manufacturing cost without improving performance at speeds below 60 kilometers per hour. The solar panels covering the roof aren't decorative. They're a 1.2 square meter photovoltaic system that generates electricity whenever the car sits in sunlight. During a typical workday in Delhi or Mumbai, 8 hours of parking adds 15 to 20 kilometers of range without the car being plugged into anything. That might seem modest until you consider that someone driving 30 kilometers daily can go 3 or 4 days between charging sessions just from solar alone. The panels work even on cloudy days, though at reduced output. Weekend parking adds enough charge that Monday morning starts with a fuller battery than Friday evening. India receives between 250 and 300 days of strong sunlight annually, which makes this approach particularly effective there. But the same logic applies anywhere sunny. Cities across the Middle East, North Africa, Australia, and southern United States get similar solar exposure. Park the car outside during work hours and come back to find it charged itself. The battery underneath holds 10 kilowatt hours. Tesla's batteries range from 60 to 100 kilowatt hours, but the EVA weighs less than 600 kilograms compared to Tesla's 1,800 to 2,200 kilograms. Less weight means less energy needed for the same distance. Physics works the same for everyone. A full charge from a standard household outlet takes 4 to 5 hours and provides 120 to 150 kilometers of range, depending on driving style and terrain. That covers a week of typical urban use between charging sessions, or longer if solar is adding range daily. The car measures 3 meters long, 1.2 meters wide, and 1.6 meters tall. That narrow profile lets it navigate traffic gaps that larger vehicles can't access and fit into parking spaces that would be impossible for a standard sedan. Ground clearance is 180 millimeters, high enough for Indian road conditions, including speed bumps and uneven surfaces. Inside, the layout is straightforward. 2 seats up front, 1 in back. Manual windows that don't require electric motors or control modules. A basic instrument cluster showing speed, battery percentage, and estimated range. Push-button start. A selector for forward and reverse. The seats use durable woven fabric that resists heat better than leather and costs substantially less. Everything that didn't directly contribute to moving people from point A to point B got eliminated during design. There are no heated seats, no touchscreen display, no premium audio system, no soft-touch dashboard materials. Each of those features adds cost and potential failure points. Vayve decided that buyers with limited budgets would rather have a working car than luxury features. The final price is 3.25 lakh rupees, which converts to roughly $3,890 at current exchange rates. Building a functional electric vehicle at that price required rethinking every aspect of automotive manufacturing. Vayve made decisions that traditional automakers either can't or won't make because those decisions don't work at higher price points. All components come from Indian suppliers within 500 kilometers of the assembly facility. The battery cells are manufactured in Maharashtra. The electric motor comes from Gujarat. The chassis is fabricated in Haryana. The solar panels are sourced from Tamil Nadu. This eliminates international shipping, import duties, and currency exchange risks while supporting domestic industry. The manufacturing process uses minimal automation. Body panels get stamped by hydraulic presses that have been operating in India for decades, rather than requiring new robotic systems. Assembly happens on simple production lines where workers install components by hand. This approach creates more jobs per vehicle than highly automated factories and requires lower capital investment. The body construction uses a steel frame with bolt-on panels rather than the unibody construction common in modern vehicles. This makes repairs significantly easier and cheaper. A damaged panel can be unbolted and replaced by a local mechanic in an afternoon, rather than requiring specialized welding equipment and factory-trained technicians. The modular design means that parts from other manufacturers can sometimes fit with minor modifications, which keeps repair costs down over the vehicle's lifetime. The paint process is simplified to reduce costs. The Eva comes in 5 basic colors, using single-stage paint rather than the multi-layer base coat and clear coat systems used on premium vehicles. This cuts material costs and reduces drying time in the production process. The finish is durable enough for daily use, but won't match the deep gloss of luxury vehicles, which is an acceptable trade-off at this price point. The design uses standardized components wherever possible. The suspension comes from existing motorcycle and auto rickshaw suppliers who already produce millions of units annually. The steering system adapts proven technology from compact cars. The brake assemblies use widely available parts that any local mechanic can service. This makes repairs cheaper and faster because replacement parts don't need to be ordered from specialized suppliers. Vayve also offers battery as a service, which separates the battery cost from the vehicle purchase. Buyers can get the car without the battery for 2.5 lakh rupees, approximately $3,000, and then pay a monthly rental fee based on kilometers driven. This dramatically lowers the barrier to ownership for families who can manage small, ongoing payments but don't have cash for the full purchase price. The Indian government supports electric vehicle adoption through the FAME program, which provides subsidies that reduce purchase prices. State governments add their own incentives. The combined effect drops the cost for buyers while supporting manufacturers. GST rates on electric vehicles are also lower than on petrol vehicles, making the effective price gap even wider. Manufacturing costs stayed low because Vayve didn't try to compete with premium vehicles on features. They identified the minimum viable product for urban transportation and built exactly that. The result works for people who need a car, not people who want a luxury item. India's electric vehicle ecosystem is developing differently than in Western markets. Rather than starting with premium vehicles and gradually working toward affordability, Indian manufacturers began with affordability and are adding features as the market matures. Tata Motors sells the Punch EV starting around $6,500. MG offers the Comet EV at roughly $7,000. Both are small city cars prioritizing function over prestige. Mahindra recently launched electric versions of their compact SUVs at prices below $10,000. These aren't stripped versions of luxury vehicles. They're purpose-built for buyers who need reliable transportation within a realistic budget. The charging infrastructure is expanding rapidly to support this growth. Mumbai installed over 500 public charging points in 2025, with stations in shopping mall parking areas, metro stations, office complexes, and residential neighborhoods. Delhi now requires all new commercial buildings to include EV charging capability in their parking facilities. Bangalore is converting roadside parking zones into charging stations. The deployment strategy focuses on high-traffic areas first. Major highways now have charging stations every 50 to 80 kilometers, making intercity travel feasible for electric vehicles. Shopping districts install fast chargers that can top up a battery during a meal or movie. Residential areas get slower overnight chargers that cost less to install and operate. This tiered approach maximizes coverage while managing infrastructure costs. Private companies are also entering the charging market. Gas station operators are adding electric charging bays alongside fuel pumps. Restaurant chains are installing chargers in their parking lots to attract EV owners who will spend time inside while their vehicles charge. Real estate developers include charging infrastructure in new apartment complexes as a selling point for environmentally conscious buyers. Some installations use solar power exclusively, operating independently from the grid. This matters in areas where electricity supply is unreliable or where grid capacity can't handle additional load from vehicle charging. A solar-powered charging station works regardless of what's happening with conventional power infrastructure. The electricity feeding these stations increasingly comes from renewable sources. Rajasthan's solar farms and Tamil Nadu's wind corridors generate power that flows into the grid and charges electric vehicles. This creates genuinely zero-emission transportation rather than just shifting emissions from tailpipes to power plants. India is also building domestic battery manufacturing capacity to reduce dependence on Chinese imports. Reliance Industries is investing billions in lithium-ion cell production. Ola Electric is constructing what they claim will be the world's largest two-wheeler battery factory. As local production scales, battery costs will decrease and supply chains will become more resilient. What's emerging is a complete ecosystem designed around making electric vehicles accessible rather than aspirational. The vehicles are practical. The infrastructure prioritizes coverage over speed. The pricing targets median-income families rather than early adopters. This approach only works because all the pieces are developing simultaneously. Other countries are studying India's model because they face similar economic constraints. A $40,000 electric car is meaningless in markets where average annual income is below $5,000. But a $3,000 vehicle changes what's possible. Kenya has contacted Indian manufacturers about importing affordable EVs. The country currently spends billions on fuel imports, money that leaves the economy entirely. Electric vehicles powered by domestic solar infrastructure would keep that capital in Kenya. Nigeria is exploring partnerships to establish local assembly operations, creating manufacturing jobs while reducing fuel dependency. Vietnam and Indonesia are examining India's subsidy structure and considering similar policies. Both countries have rapidly growing vehicle ownership rates. Following the Western path of petrol-powered cars would increase emissions and strain national budgets through fuel imports. The Indian approach offers a different trajectory. The Vayve Eva specifically attracts attention because of its solar capability. Countries with abundant sunlight but unreliable grid electricity see solar EVs as practical solutions. A car that charges itself during daylight hours doesn't require grid connection, making it functional in areas where power supply is intermittent or non-existent. Parts of sub-Saharan Africa receive excellent solar exposure but have limited grid infrastructure. Rural areas often have no electrical service at all. A solar car eliminates dependency on infrastructure that doesn't exist. Park it outside, let the sun charge it, and drive when needed. This makes transportation accessible in regions where building extensive charging networks would take decades and cost billions that governments don't have. The economic impact extends beyond just vehicle purchases. Local assembly operations create manufacturing jobs. Maintenance and repair work support small businesses. Reduced fuel imports keep capital in domestic economies. The multiplier effect of these changes can be substantial for developing nations where every dollar of saved imports creates additional economic activity internally. This could reshape how transportation develops in emerging economies. The traditional assumption was that electric vehicles would start expensive and gradually become affordable as technology improved and production scaled. India is demonstrating the opposite path. Start affordable and functional, then add features as the market develops. Build for the majority of potential buyers rather than the wealthy minority. If this succeeds, the global EV market could look fundamentally different within a decade. Instead of a few premium brands serving wealthy markets, dozens of manufacturers might produce affordable vehicles for billions of people in developing economies. The center of innovation could shift from Silicon Valley and Shanghai to Mumbai and Lagos. Tesla will never compete at the $3,000 price point because doing so would contradict their brand identity. They've built their reputation on premium positioning, cutting-edge technology, and high performance. A basic city car with manual windows would confuse their customer base and damage the prestige they've carefully constructed. But here's what makes India's approach powerful. They're not trying to beat Tesla at Tesla's game. They're playing an entirely different game that Tesla can't enter without destroying what makes Tesla valuable. Tesla announced their affordable car in 2020. 6 years later, it remains a concept while their cheapest actual vehicle costs $46,000. Vayve delivered a $3,000 car that people are driving today. One company made promises, the other made vehicles. The gap isn't about engineering capability. Tesla could absolutely build a cheap car if they wanted to. The gap is about market strategy. Tesla serves customers who want luxury electric vehicles and can afford them. Vayve serves customers who need basic transportation and can't spend more than a few $1,000s. Those markets don't overlap. A Tesla buyer isn't considering a Vayve. A Vayve buyer was never in the market for a Tesla. They were choosing between a used motorcycle and continued reliance on buses. The Eva gave them a third option that didn't exist before. This is what crushing the competition actually means. Not building a better version of what they're building. Making what they're building irrelevant to billions of potential customers who need something completely different. While Tesla refines autonomous driving and develops robo-taxis for wealthy markets, Vayve is delivering solar-powered transportation to people who just need to get to work without buying petrol. One strategy might serve tens of millions of customers globally. The other could serve billions. India didn't crush Tesla by out-engineering them. They crushed Tesla by making a $3,000 solar car that actually exists, while Tesla's affordable vehicle remains a 6-year-old promise. And in doing so, they've shown that the future of electric vehicles might not be shaped by Silicon Valley at all. What do you think about India's approach to electric vehicles? Let me know in the comments. If you want to see more videos like this, hit the like button and subscribe. Thanks for watching.